So if you have one of these Saab 9-3s, 2LT, just misfiring, and let's say you already got a set of coil packs, and maybe you got them used from a junkyard, or if you've got new ones, maybe you are still having bad luck, but maybe it might have got slightly better. See, I had cheap ones on this. I broke down about 15 miles away. I had original Saabs, and all 3 of them, except for 1, was good. And then that last one I used as a spare, it went bad over time. And these 3 are still good, but I pulled this one out. And a lot of people are going to be like, change the coil packs, change all of them. All these coil packs do is, if you have the yellow tops, the resins will crack and they'll start arcing off. But even these black ones, you'll start having issues where if this ground isn't good here, this engine's been on fire one time because of that coil pack issue. The whole engine caught on fire. You can still see the black. This ground isn't good enough. You'll have arcing going from here to here. And so it's good to clean these grounds off, but a lot of times that's if you're lucky. And you can pull plugs out and be like, it takes an NGK. By the way, even when it's running good, these NGK G powers, really cheap. They're not Irradiums, but you can get a 1-year warranty at Advance Auto. You buy one, and if you buy one, if one of them goes out, you can put that same one, if they're all the same, in that box and return it when it's adjusted. But it works. So your plugs aren't known for going out all the time. They're really not. These plugs, just in general, you could run, so on the PT Cruisers naturally aspirated, you could run the same exact plug that this has. It's considered a colder plug if you get the NGK Irradium ones that the PT Cruiser has, and it might run a little better, but nobody really knows that. It's not really talked about on the forums. It's something I found out over time. If you want these engines to last longer, put the Irradiums that are in the PT Cruisers, regap them, the NAs. So what you have to do to test these, so you have to take these off, put a plug in, and see if it's arcing from here to the base of the engine or from here to the base of the engine. And you kind of have to push down on the plug, because if you don't, it's still going to arc off here instead of out there, because you got to remember the threads are going to ground it, and it's still going to slightly arc off that bit. That's normal. This is most likely your culprit to your coil pack issue. A lot of these coil packs over time, and I have a whole thing of them. I wish I had it here right now, but they're upstairs. I have a whole thing of them, of these Saab brand coil packs. I probably have over 24 of them in there, in a case. Some of them are good and some of them are bad, but even the ones that look good are still bad because they'll arc off the top. So if you're testing these and you want to see if this is a coil pack issue, take your rubber boot, put it back in, right? I'll just jam this one in for test purposes. Plug it in, leave the spark plug in, but leave this out. If it arcs off the top, it is the coil resin is the issue. Usually that happens with the yellow tops because they're known for going out. Now these black tops, they're not known for it. But if they do it, then it's shot. Get this, right? Now, take your boot off. If it's not jumping off here, but you have a misfire here, take your boot off, and I guarantee you, you will have a cracked casing on your coil pack. It's not an ECU issue. It's not the way the coil packs were really made. Just heat, cold, combined will crack your coil packs. And I have a fixed, it's a fixed OBD2 reader you can put on your phone. And this isn't sponsored by them, but I can sit here and drive this car from here to 2 hours away, come back, and it will only do it for the first 10 or 15 minutes. If I clear the codes, it goes back to normal. If you clear the codes and it goes back to normal, and then maybe under huge loads it will, or occasionally it will. If you clear the codes, it'll be fine. This is your issue, because when you reset the car, that misfire goes away because your signal is restored. So if you start having misfire issues on these 2.0s, don't be changing all your coil packs. Don't be spending $150 for an NGK replacement from Advance Auto, or even if you get the original ones, they're about the same price. And by the way, all these do is ionize the particles. Everybody thinks this is like a special form of coil pack, just because it uses it as a cam sensor too, which most people don't know. If you have a cam sensor issue with these, it could be two things. It could be this, or down in here. Let's see if I can find it. Down in here where that wire is, you can barely see it. There is a crank sensor, and that crank sensor is what goes out on these two. I already replaced my crank sensor. They fixed my cam sensor code because it runs the crank sensor for the cam. These use also ionizing particles to figure out where the cam is. It's really high tech, and they're not like the SS Cobalts. You can't run SS Cobalt coils on these. If you do, you might get lucky, but you can't ionize the particles with SS Cobalt ones, even though they look exactly the same. The difference is inside of it. There is a little thing in here that picks up on the ionization that aligns all the particles together and figures out where the cam is. So these here, these Saab ones are good brands. These Mitsubishis, they're made from Saab. Now, forums, I believe in forums and helping me figure out issues. I don't believe in forums and what they tell you to do, because not every answer is going to be completely correct. And you can spend hours on end and get the parts they tell you to only get because it's the only one that works. And I had aftermarket ones on these, and I'll tell you what, those aftermarket ones were also different. So they're right and they're wrong. The aftermarket ones, the voltage inside these are completely different, and they are a completely different internal. They do not ionize the particles, so you might have a cam sensor code, but the engine will still run fine. Or maybe you get a slight misfire because it can't ionize the code, or you get half boost because the cam sensor causes a half boost issue. And on these plugs, we have this style of inside. On the cheap ones, it's different. The only brands you can only run on these cars, from my experience alone, is you can only run the Mitsubishi brand Saab ones. If it has to be Saab because it has that ionization in it, or it has to be the NGKs. The NGK ones are actually pretty good. And they have a place in Australia that makes aftermarket ones that are high performance, and they're pretty good too. But I have yet to really test them, but from what I heard, they ionize it better and they bulletproof it. And they're cheaper than the original ones, but they cost money to be shipped out of the AU. So I just wanted to make a video for everybody that has one of these stupid ass Saabs, because I've bulletproofed this. I've went through everything on this car when I first got it. I had so many issues. It's been in the shop and out of shop. I had to pull it out of shop because of some bullshit. And some people don't know how to work on these cars, but I'm here to try to teach anybody that doesn't know how to work on these cars. So change your plugs, test the insulators on these, and check these here. And there isn't a way to really fix this. If you're in a pinch, wrap some electrical tape around her and put it back in and you'll be fine. But these come off. You can put these back on, but these you can't fix unless you replace the casing. It ain't worth it. So this is now garbage, and this goes to the landfill. And that's everything you need to know on diagnosing coils and spark plugs for your 2.0 and what you need to know to test it. You don't need anything. Only thing you need is another spare spark plug, which I have right here. All you need is one spark plug. It's a $5 fix just to figure out what's going on with this car.